Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of DABCC TV. I'm very excited. We have Jason Smith from Liquidware Labs back on the show with us, and he's going to show us what's new with ProfileUnity and FlexApp. And we actually had him on the show a while ago, and he showed us some of this stuff, but it was a sneak preview. And now we're going to get to see the whole shebangs. So with no further ado, Jason, thanks so much for taking the time to be with us today.
As always, it's great to be on the show.
Hey, thank you. So, what are you gonna show us? I don't even truly know, except other than ProfileUnity FlexApp. What's new in 5.5? Can you give us a bit more info? And what is this ProfileUnity and FlexApp for those who might not be familiar?
Doug, I'd say since the launch of and the rebranding of when we first started calling this product ProfileUnity, that this is the single most newsworthy update that we've had in a long time. And it's because we're relaunching the solution from the ground up. Architecture remains the same, but it's got a new look and feel and a ton of new features.
Awesome. Well, do we get to see it today, or?
Definitely. What I want to do is I want to give a quick look at what's new, and then I'm going to hone in on probably one of the coolest new features, and I'll demo that one instead of doing an A to Z demo. There's a lot of videos on our website where you can check out this new version. They've all been freshened up, so anyone that needs more information or wants to see something different can go over there and take a look if they'd like.
Perfect, and we'll put links to those videos in the show notes, so you can check out this video as sort of an overview of what's new, and Jason's 2 bits about that, and then of course just look in the show notes for additional information. So, Jason, let's just I'll let you can run this thing and have at it. I can't wait to see it.
All right, great. So I'm just going to not a lot of slideware today. I just want to show this one right here. And I'm going to focus on, what's new in this. And those people that know us out there in the internet world, they know and know us in the VDI market, know us in the Windows management market. They're instantly going to recognize we've got a new graphical user interface from the ground up. Like I said, the architecture is the same. So we're still not heavy-handed in our approach from user management, profile management, which is what everyone knows us for. Now we're gaining huge additional features in here. But I've circled what's new in here. So the moment you log into the management console, which is what administrators use, there's some new stuff there. There's a guided configuration for first-time users, and for those that are upgrading, you can walk through that too. That'll set up the basic functionality of profile portability, some folder redirection, and turn on FlexApp, which is user-installed applications, is one component of that. But we now authenticate with Active Directory groups. For instance, you can say, allow any administrator of Active Directory, domain administrator, to also be a ProfileUnity administrator. So we can authenticate directly against those groups. You can point to them, you can choose them. We had some functionality in before for all of our features that we checked against Active Directory groups and OU groups and names and stuff like that. So that integration was there, but now it's very tightly integrated, where it actually authenticates back and forth for these users. So that's cool. And let me just walk you through our new features in here. So like I said, this is brand new, gives us a control panel look interface, and gets us out of the dark ages of our development. As we've expanded our development teams, we've added features in recent years, but now our GUI's also been updated. So let's just start off right here at the beginning where I've circled. FlexApp user installed applications got some new wind into it, although we've only been shipping that now since last year in mid-2012. And we have our privilege elevation feature. It goes hand in hand with that. You can now blacklist and whitelist more easily what applications that you want to grant users the ability to install or not install. So whether that's signed applications to allow any application, you could do that, or only signed applications, or only or deny keywords like torrent or a certain vendor name or things like that out of the certificate or through the path. You can do all that. So that's really neat. It's integrated right into our software here, and it's not a one-off approach to user-installed applications. We give you all the power you need to manage that functionality from our central management console. FlexApp department-installed applications, I'm going to come back to that because that is brand new for this release. And that's what I'm going to focus on in the demo today. It's the ability to basically package up applications similar to a ThinApp or AppV, but there's some benefits into our technology in there where sometimes maybe ThinApp's not perfect or AppV's not perfect for virtualizing the application, and we may work. So that's what that's about, and I'll show the demo of that. We also have now the ability to provision out virtual hard disks for your users. So we'll provision one right out at login if you turn that on for your users under the parameters that you put in under there. Like all our features, you can select certain groups or usernames or whatever to allocate those and give users additional storage. So we already were doing this with FlexApp. So we added a feature set that actually just focused on this. You can use it for whatever reason you want. In the graphical interface, by the way, you see all these little red numbers. That means there's configurations that exist under that. Little ease of use things like that are also new throughout the product. So it helps administrators at a glance know what to look for, what's in a configuration. Profile cleanup is huge, Doug, and I think you're going to like this one. Because like me, you go back to early Citrix days and the terminal services environments, which are still so prevalent out there because it's a rock-solid platform to offer your desktops on. So we had customer after customer with XenApp and terminal services ask if you could clean up the profile store on a machine. You know, the use case being a XenApp machine, and you've had users come in there, maybe use profiles once, and there's a profile on that machine, and maybe they're no longer in that building or on that farm or whatever, or for whatever reason. And you've got profile management like ProfileUnity managing things anyway, or any other profile solution. And you need to clean those up from time to time because they grow like nuts. And with that feature set, you can blow out the profiles on the server and save all that space and have a way to manage that automatically without figuring out some complex script or something to do that ever so often. So we do that on an interval basis. It's specifically that one, you could use it for any Windows machine. There's a lot of use cases, but specifically, you know, those in Citrix shops and XenApp shop or terminal services shops should pay attention to that one because it's a nice to have. Our inventory down below has been expanded too. So we always had inventory in the product to do hardware and software inventory, but now we also track your virtual applications of FlexApp. User install applications, we know what users have installed, so you can check your licenses against it if you need to, and also department installed applications, those that you pushed out to users, and I'll show you the demo of that portion today. But inventory also has things in it like folder redirection. We not only redirect the folder, but you can silently, with our technology, harvest the contents of a legacy location, and it'll report back to our inventory module and say who's completed that. So that's some cool stuff. And one other thing I'd like to point out that I didn't circle is our registry settings down below. With not this release, but just the previous one, which we didn't make a lot of hay about this feature, but we can now execute configurations as an administrator, even for a standard user. So what that means is we have the ability to do HKey local machine registry keys. You can lock down machines and do a lot of things that you couldn't do before. So this version's got huge updates. Those are the highlights I touched on. And it's just, as you can see, Doug, we're packing a punch in this one. It's significant. So this will roll out this week. So by the time users see the video, they can go out and download it.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, you've been talking about the departmental apps for a long time, so I'm really excited to see that. But like you said, I think that profile cleanup is a really neat feature too. So maybe you could show us that real quick, and also, I want to see it. I want to see it all, to be honest with you.
Great.
I guess I'll have to watch the other videos.
I just, viewers may have other things to do. So I'm just trying to keep that in mind. But I'll be glad to show you anything that you have interest in, and I can especially show you those. So this is our management console. Again, brand new look and feel from the ground up. And let's look at profile cleanup, and I'll come back to DIA in a minute.
Cool.
Installed applications.
I have power.
Yeah. That's right. It's an interactive demo session here.
That's correct. That's what we do on DABCCs. We talk and we show things that we want to see. It's not scripted, is it?
No, it's unplugged.
Okay, so let's see this profile cleanup. What do we have to do here?
So to modify the configuration and add profile cleanup capabilities into your own, you just click on this and say, apply this to maybe everyone. Or you could write a filter and say, apply it to only users that attach to a certain server, right? So And what you do with those profiles, you can clean them up, which is to delete them off the server at every log off, or every day, or weekly, or maybe every month. So if you did every log off with our technology, if you're doing a lot of compression of the profile, you're going to see a little bit of a longer log on for your users. So you might only want to do it every month. It would be the use case there. And that would give the ability that profile saved on that server, in this case, a server-based computing environment. And when you log in, we just sync up any changes with ProfileUnity. So the log on's a little faster. So monthly would be a good practice to have there, but you may have the use case for other reasons. So it's a simple little feature, but it's one that's been requested out there, I know, for years from the Citrix community. It's an easy one for you to turn on and you not have to do log on scripting or figure out or schedule it manually to be done. You can do it at a moment's notice. Something you would have used, Doug?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Is that something you would have used?
Yeah, I would. I like that very much. When you said you write a filter, what do you mean by that?
All right, so everything you see here, all these feature sets, they can be applied through our filter management. So a context-aware filter, as we call it in the industry, really. It means when something rings true, then apply it, and not until it rings true. So that way you can do it for a group or an individual or things like that. A common one is the printer management here. It's a good one to show. So I've got a printer management feature set rule written here. If I go in here and edit the one that you'll see that I've got this applied to a printer called accounting on the third floor. It's a custom rule set I wrote to granularly apply printers in this environment to people that are on the third floor. So when my filter rings true, and I'll show you what that looks like in a minute, it'll connect this printer. All right, let me back out of this and show you how that filter got written. So let's go over here to filter management, and I'll go in here and edit the one that says accounting on the third floor. All right, so you can write a filter just as easy by hitting create. You fill out this and this and this. But I've got two things to select. If this rings true, then it will connect that filter. So if the group membership is accounting and their computer name begins with TH, because as an administrator, I'm smart, I named all my machines on the third floor. Third, they start with third. So this will cause people in accounting with that to get that HP printer, in my example, mapped up for them every time. So this is dynamic printer management. You can also invoke this for a highly mobile environment like a hospital or an education institution to be able to do this on the go. And we can do it with like VMware view sessions. When the view session is refreshed, check these parameters and connect to the latest, to whatever rang true for the most dynamic printer, closest printer in the environment. We've done that for hospital environments and education, like I said, two very highly mobile environments.
Very cool.
So that's how you write a printer, and it applies to anything. So maybe you want some profiles managed one way, some profiles managed a different way. You do it with a filter. It does say apply printer. Apply a filter. So you write a filter to apply anything in our configuration. So you can either apply it to something granular or apply it.
Oh, makes sense.
So the other thing that I wanted to go right in and it was to show department installed applications. Unless some eye candy has indeed done that and caught your eye.
No, let's get to the departmental.
Yeah, I'm like I said, so we're ready to show.
I can ask tons of questions if you want, but I do really want to see the departmental apps. Like I said, you've been sort of teasing me with these things for a good 6 months to a year, so I'm really excited to see it completed.
No, it's good I'm showing the rest of this because really our overall market that we're after to solve profile problems is the Windows market as a whole. Now, what I'm about to show you, because there's the Windows market as a whole, because everybody that runs Windows in enterprise has profile issues, and we solve that. Everybody has the need to map drives and printers and do all those things, and maybe group policy preferences doesn't exactly do what you need, and you can pull all that under under ProfileUnity, and we have summary reports and stuff like that. But the two features I'm about to show you, they only apply to virtual desktop environments right now. So it's good that we took that approach, and I kind of showed around for things that really matter to anybody that might be interested in the solution. But FlexApp, user-installed applications and department-installed applications, right now we only support virtual desktops for that, such as a VMware View desktop or our Zen Desktop or Red Hat Enterprise Virtualization. We support all those for what I'm about to show you. So user-installed applications is the ability for a user to install an application. And we, like I said, we started shipping that 6 months ago, and it's been very successful. In a nutshell, what it allows an administrator to do is not to have to keep modifying a base image for a user, and also to be able to do non-persistent desktops. So your base image that gets served up, it remembers what users have installed, and it snaps those applications back in right at logon. Now we have that same functionality as a department installed application to be able to have administrators package applications and snap in applications that they want to push out. So we have both sides out there, and you can apply what you want with those powerful filter sets that I'm glad you had me focus on a moment ago, because everything's granular in this product. You can have it like you want it. It's like Burger King, have it your way. So,
but healthier, much healthier.
Yeah, much healthier than that, though. So FlexApp DIA, it's got two components. What we've got here is the ability to administer packages that you've built. And just like any application virtualization, you need a way to package those for department basis. So we have, it goes hand in hand with our packaging console that you would run on another Windows 7 virtual machine. So in this case, I've packaged up 3 applications, and I have the ability to flip back over in real time. It communicates with the management console and says, okay, I see these packages, and it lets you apply a filter and apply them to people. So let me create one, and it'll take a moment because I'm going to do one that I think I did for you before, but it's one that's quite complex for application virtualization. So iTunes has like 5 packages at least under the covers. That's what makes it complicated. You can't have application isolation the way that some other technologies do. We don't isolate the applications. We put them right into the OS with symbolic links where the hooks need to be. So we overcome that shortcoming of application isolation. Now, application isolation may have some advantages, but not doing it also has advantages. So we're not an end-all, be-all method for administering applications. Let me find my package. So I need to point to my iTunes setup with that one. And I just need to put a path in here where I'm going to centralize basically my packages. It's going to create a virtual hard disk, which will contain everything that package needs to be snapped back in. So it's a virtual hard disk that can be a one-to-many shared, and you apply it, and that's where we get the symbolic links and point back to the bits of what's needed to make the application work. I have still not mastered the ability to type and
talk and record a video and pay attention to what you're doing all at once.
Right. I'll get that one day.
That's a skill.
So there's some other parameters in here. We'll leave this at 1 gigabyte because I know iTunes doesn't need more than that. You could do this at 20, and it doesn't matter because it's a dynamically expanding. It's only going to use the space when needed. We'll leave it like that. And when we hit create, you'll see it's going to pull that package from the path where I'm getting it, and it's going to start installing it, just like you'd install software on a machine. And you see the FlexApp service popped up here. Now it's capturing it to where I pointed to where a VHD can be created. We've created the VHD, and we are keeping track where every single little file needs to be in the OS. And we're also putting the actual binaries into that VHD. So the way that we're doing this is with redirection. There's a lot more to it than that. When you get down to drivers and things like that, and the way we're making things work, and the settings that stick for the users, there's a lot more magic to it than that. But that's the brief description of how it's working right now. So anything I choose here will be chosen for users. And you can go back and change these at other times by adjusting the preferences in the package, some of the beauty that we put into this. So I'll leave these defaults checked. But just to let you know, that would apply for everyone that gets the package. We do save off application data per user in their own ProfileUnity system, so you have unique settings under there. But the things you choose at login or preferences, you can change those for everyone by modifying the package. So while iTunes is running, I'm going to go over here and show you the management console again. Crack this open and we'll see that to add it, all we'll do is we'll click on this in a moment and we'll be able to select iTunes. It's not in here now, as you'll note, but it'll communicate in a minute that it is available once we're done. This will happen relatively quick. And after I do this, what I'll do is I'll go show how a user actually logs onto the environment and how they get that application after we assign it. And I will have time to tell you about what's new, because everyone knows that software that installs takes a little bit of time sometimes. So other things that are new in here are inventory, like I said, has been expanded. And our registry area. This is a cool one to take a look at while that installs. We can now run as an administrator. So what that means is I can control computers without a user being an administrator. So I can write values to HKey local machine. We could do this before, but the user had to be an administrator. Now they don't. So now you can do desktop lockdown and things like that. So look for exciting things coming out of that as we expand the graphical user capabilities for desktop lockdown. So that'll be in a future version, but we've got enough exciting things to talk about in this one.
Very cool. It's only a 0.5 release too. It's not even a full point release.
That's right. We thought about jumping it to 6 just for that reason, but we've got to.
That just means that when version 6 comes out, it's going to have to be even better than this.
You just got to one up it. Have it shoot fireworks or something.
That's shoot fireworks.
I don't know.
I've always, I will digress, and that's what we do well on DABCC. But I once learned long time ago when I was coming up through the ranks of consulting that it doesn't matter how great your network is. It matters how the users perceive the network. So you have to, in my sort of mentor's point there was you have to explain to people what you're doing, teach them how to use the things. Don't just build something that's spectacular. And his example was, Doug, you know what? You could build a network that came and scratched your back for you. But if the users don't know how to use that feature, it doesn't matter. So it's sort of like FlexApp here with the new feature of fireworks. You're going to have to show us how that works so that we get the benefits from it.
No problem. I'll be glad to do that at any time. iTunes is completed, but you've got to hit the stop button here, and it'll just confirm that you're stopping the capture process is basically what you're doing.
Makes sense.
And you saw iTunes actually appear on this desktop, so it kind of gives you that confirmation that it has completed. So successfully completed the deactivation process and everything's done. So when I hit stop, it deactivates it from the desktop. So now there's 4 packages in here. You saw we only had 3 in the console a minute ago. So now when I go open this, and then I hit apply a FlexApp rule, voila! It communicated that there's a new one available.
Very cool.
And to apply that, I say, okay, drag it over here. Okay, I'm going to apply it to just this user. And I'm going to hit save. And make sure that this one comes out of the environment because it was one I had in my demo earlier. It was one that I played in and played back out. So now I'm going to go over to update. And this is a thing about ProfileUnity. We disconnect really the management console from the live production environment. We do it on purpose, so there's no single point of failure because we only need like 10 megabytes of files for ProfileUnity to run. So let me download the configuration to make it live. The latest configuration is this one. And let me just save it out to the NetLogon file share to make it active. That's where we host our executables. You can do it in another place. The most recent one is in there. And that's what made it live. So
interesting.
Let me go over here to my Windows 7 machine. Before I do log on, I want to snapshot it back so it's just like the golden base image, just like it would be in VDI. And that's going to take just a second. Literally, just a
Yeah,
few
I was going to say, hey, maybe you can show us something else, but that literally was a second. No time for digressions.
Yeah. I'm in the speedy environment. So let me just log on as a user that has those applications applied, plus one they put in for themselves, and show you how quickly the desktop populates. So this is non-persistent VDI. You want to put follow me applications for user installed applications, for department installed applications. And as the user logs on, they'll get their persona and everything flowing back in with ProfileUnity. So again, non-persistent VDI, we take care of everything, not only the profiles, but now applications are snapped back in too.
So what's it doing during login right there?
It's a base image. So we just put everything that means that the user is a user to that user back on the desktop.
Ah, makes
profile,
sense.
A picture of their family.
That's a pretty family.
They installed Firefox themselves as a user installed application, and then here come the ones that are department installed: Opera and Skype. And then iTunes will flow back in a moment.
Very cool.
That was QuickBooks. There's a dependency I needed 4.5 in this environment for QuickBooks.
So obviously, well, that actually brings me to my question, I guess, is there's obviously types of applications that won't run in a FlexApp environment. What are those? So in I would imagine a good chunk of user applications, apps that users would install probably work, but what type does not?
So we found very few that don't work, and it's just as simple as modifying our capture process. And we've asked people to challenge us with that very thing, to take the FlexApp challenge and see if there's some that don't work.
Interesting. So even things like antivirus?
Antivirus will work as long as it's not one that needs to, check before Windows boots. But once Windows boots, we can basically hook anything that needs to play back. But some antivirus techniques will, take a look at things before Windows boots, and we obviously can't affect that if we haven't launched.
Makes sense.
In the case of my QuickBooks, and I'm glad it showed that because I've got QuickBooks applied to this, but QuickBooks actually needs .NET, and this workstation doesn't have .NET on it, so you saw some errors come up. If I had .NET, it would work. So that shows you, kind of what you have to plan out for any application virtualization. Just because you got the application package doesn't mean you have the dependencies on it. And of course, I could easily fix that by modifying the base image.
Yeah, makes sense. Can you deploy something like .NET via departmental app? Just have it, install once?
Yeah, we had not .NET. That's a good one that we have been stumped on, and we actually looked at doing. But it is an integrated part of the OS when you update .NET that we ran into a few challenges on.
Yeah, it's not really an app. You know what I mean?
It modifies things.
Yeah, it's more of like an OS component than an application per se. So it makes sense. I won't ding you on that one.
So right now, iTunes is running as a department-installed application. This one's a department-installed application. Skype is a department-installed application. And Firefox is the user-installed application that the user had installed themselves. All this came back to a base image as soon as I snapped it back in.
That's very cool, Jason.
As soon as I snapshot it back, you saw how it all flowed back in. Otherwise, we would have gotten the basic new user profile running and all that. So you're seeing a good layer of things running here.
I'm sorry?
You're seeing a good layer of things going. User installed applications, you've got Persona that came back in and everything that we kind of offer up there. If you want to take a look at kind of the way this works, just if people are curious, for user installed applications, the user gets a VHD that gets provisioned for them one time. That's their first login when they are a FlexApp UI user. And it kind of follows them around. So every time that they log on, it gets mapped back up for them. And there's basically a container in there that will be all the things that they've installed themselves. And they don't have to worry about any of this magic. But that's how it works. This is where the binaries are stored. And if you look at over here at the C drive, at program files, for example, you can take a look at Firefox, and instead of it pointing to actually under properties, the C drive, it's pointing back to that VHD. You'll see this fancy little shortcut here that indicates that the app's not here. Like I said, this symbolic link shortcuts that you see here, that's only one part of the magic. Intercepting it was the other part into making this happen, and also saving back, all the persistency for the user. So the application data, it's a lot more complicated than it may seem, and we've had high success rates over this.
Very impressive.
All right, so that's a quick look at what I wanted to show there for what's new in ProfileUnity 5.5. I've got another exciting thing to share with you.
Oh, excellent!
I've done a few of these with you, and how can people try this, right?
Absolutely.
No, I don't want to talk to myself here. Ask me.
Oh, well, we weren't to that point yet. First, you have to finish. You have to say, Doug, that's all we have for you today. And I say, oh, well, I have one more question, and that is, what if somebody liked what you did, what you just showed us? What do they need to do to learn more? That's how the flow works, Jason.
We're launching a brand new test drive site. And like I said, when people see this, it should already be live on the site. But instead of downloading, which is very easy to download and try, we now have a live site you can just log into, and you have your own little desktop for 30 days. And on it, you have the end user experience, but you can also open the ProfileUnity console, and you can get a taste of how to play back, of how DIA applications are played back. So you should just visit our website and look for the test drive button and our download if you're ready to download.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. So, and where do they go again for that?
So liquidwarelabs.com, and they'll see that shortcut there, the test drive button and the short registration, and they'll have a desktop for 30 days that they can visit.
They can play around with it. And of course, if they want to actually download this and put this in their environment, they can do that too, I take it. I imagine.
They can do that too. It's a even including .NET in the build, it's 75 bytes, so it's not big. So the console needs .NET to run. Yeah.
Well, very good, very good. Well, Jason, I'm very impressed. It was very nice to see, the whole shebang. I really like the new look and feel. Very, sort of Web 2.0-ish, very easy to understand and use. It seems. And very, very impressed with the departmental applications. Like I said, you've been teasing me with that for almost a year now, and it seems like it really works great and very, very easy to use. I'm impressed. What else do I say? So thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today. And before we just call this an episode, I'll go ahead and give you the last word.
Thanks for having us on, Doug. Like I said, this is a significant launch for us. So if there's never been a better time to check out, a better way to manage profiles, a better way to provide persistency in non-persistent VDI environments, and there's no easier way to get started than just to do the quick download or to take our test drive. So thanks for sticking with us through the end of this podcast or our video cast.
Absolutely, absolutely, and thanks to everybody out there listening to this video episode. And thanks, of course, to Jason, our guest today. And if you guys enjoyed it, definitely head over to liquidwarelabs.com and test, do the test drive, but also download the product and throw it in, your labs and play around with it. It's very impressive. It's very easy to deploy and quick to get up and running. And I think you'll find that within some of the other videos and that we've made in the past with Jason, and of course the other videos that are on the website. So are within the show notes here and on Liquidware's website. So with no further ado, I'll just go ahead and call this a show, but definitely head on over to www.dabcc.com for the latest and greatest virtualization, cloud computing, desktop virtualization, profile management news there is out there on the web today. So our goal is to make sure that we find the information and give it to you, pass it along to you, so you guys can just wake up and see what the heck is going on in the world today at DABCC. So that's what we do. Hope you guys enjoy it. And on that note, thanks everyone for watching DABCC TV.